Okay, so I am Courtney Nielsen, and I have been in real estate. Well, I've been licensed since 2012. I am an associate broker, and my husband and I run the Eagle Mountain office. So we have a small branch office over by the Ridley's shopping plaza out there, and it's called KW Cedar Valley. Um, let's see, I'm trying to think what else. I used to be a teacher before I got into real estate. I left teaching in 2016, and since then I've been doing real estate pretty much full time. Um, we did have a little baby, my little my little surprise baby. When let's see, she's 9 now, almost 10. So at that time she was like 2 when I left teaching, and we were but I was still able to run a real estate business and work pretty much full time during that time. Anyway, now she's big, and now all of my other kids are big, and we're just hitting it hard. So one of the things that's really passionate for me is social media. A lot of my business comes from these different platforms. And so we're going to talk about how to capture leads today with social media. Um, why does this keep popping up like that? Maybe if I download it. Didn't want me. There we go. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about, again, capturing leads with social media. We've already talked about generating leads, growing your database, capturing leads with open houses, and capturing more leads. I was listening to a podcast recently, and she said if you, um, basically, she was saying if you don't have enough leads, then you have a branding and marketing problem. And so you need to figure out your brand, and you need to figure out your marketing plan. And so part of the marketing plan, hey, Scarlett, come on in. No, this is great. Okay, well, we'll try to power through. Yeah, so part of our marketing plan, along with our branding plan, uh, is essential nowadays to have a plan for social media. So, um, Gary Keller says it takes time to learn something, more time to implement it, and even longer to approach mastery of it. And I really believe that to be true with social media. It's constantly changing. And so we always have to be prepared to be, bobbing and weaving with social media. However, I do think that if we do have a consistent plan, and then those bobbing and weaving things will not, like, you have a not so much. Yeah, not so much with the bobbing and weaving because you have a plan. Um, okay, so the very first thing that, guys, this is like not downloading. Where's my script?
Do you personally know how to, and I hope I'm on subject,
Mhm.
but with the social media, do you know how to implement your photo, your picture, your little movement person, like you personally, on your pictures or your videos?
Do you mean like a green screen type thing? Yeah, so there is a feature in Instagram where you can, when you're creating a video or a reel, there's a green screen option. So you can put up like a video behind you or like an image, and then you can record a green screen, which means it's like you in front of, is that what you mean? In front of like the article behind you? So there's a green screen option on your Instagram, and that is how you do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you do video making, when you do a reel, I believe. So, yes. No, no, you're good. We're gonna get there. But why, you guys? This you gotta go? Oh, okay. Yeah. I know. Hey, wherever the business is, right? We go for that. I do not know why this is not allowing me to. It is allowing. It's just like spinning. Spin, spin, you know? Oh, crap. Okay, well, what if I pull up the other one instead? Okay, guess I'm going to do that. All right. Okay, so jumping right into the 10-5-1 engagement system. So, really what I'm doing for the very first part is to just get through the Instagram slides, and then we're going to talk about the different social media platforms and what you need to do for those. We'll jump to Instagram first, but the 10-5-1 engagement system, basically, you need to be engaging, liking, comment, and direct messaging people on your social media platforms. And what we do is the 10-5-1 engagement system. And what that means is, hold on. um, you're going to do 10 likes or loves on 10 different posts a day. You're going to do 5 comments on 5 different posts from people in your network. Okay. And then you're going to share or direct message or create an original post by you to get people thinking about you. So, what this means is you're going to go on every single day. What I do is I go onto Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform, and I am looking at my sphere. I like to alphabetize, go through it alphabetically so that there's some kind of organization. So, like all the A's, I'm going to go and I'm going to comment on my friends that start with the letter A. I'm going to comment on their posts. And the reason why we're doing this is because we're trying to beat the algorithm, basically. So unless you're engaging with people, your friends in on Facebook and Instagram, they're not going to see your posts. So we have to engage with them so that they'll engage with us so that our posts will pop up on their feeds. So if you're consistently going through your friends lists and engaging intentionally with your friends, right? Close friends or, friends, our Facebook friends, right? Then that's going to help you, your post, so this one, pop up on more of your friends' feeds. Yeah. So I like to do this like, you don't have to like be on social media all day, but you can just spend, hey, just an hour. I'm going to go onto social media and I'm going to be intentional about my social media activity. Like, it's not time to scroll. This is time to work, right? So the scrolling can be like when you're in bed going to sleep and you need some time to unwind or whatever. Okay, so that's it. So 10, 5, 1. 10, you're going to comment or like, 5, you're going to comment, and 1, you're going to create a post. Yeah. Now, yeah. Every day.
So like a post on your story.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about what to post on your Instagram and also the stories. So yes, stories, you need to be engaging every day, at least one. No, I mean 1 minute a day to engage on your story. But I'm in a social media challenge right now, and our challenge is that we're posting. We need to be posting in our stories every day, and then we need to post 1 post a day for 30 days, which is kind of hard. But we're going to talk about like how to formulate that, how to structure that. So, well, you can and you can't. I mean, a lot of the content is general content, right? So you just have to personalize it to you. I mean, There's sales strategies, there's buying strategies, selling, buying, investing that are just universal, right? Take those universal ideas. I know, but really, yeah, I mean,
dirty rudder if I want. No,
but that's okay.
We're in the beginning too. I feel like we're gonna need that as like
yeah. Right. And I think it's okay to do that. I think it is important to look at competitors and see what they're doing. You don't want to copycat it exactly, but take the but take the idea, you know, like look at how they structure it. How does the hook look? What kind of copy are they writing? All of that. Hi, I'm Courtney. Tell me your name. Paula. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we just talked about the 10-5-1 engagement system. Basically, that means is you're going to comment or you're going to like 10 posts, you're going to comment on 5, and you are going to post 1 time a day. Okay, so posting. Okay, so let's get right into this. Okay, the posting practice, it should be about 80, follow the 80-20 rule. 80% personal, 20% business, or 20% selling. Okay, so on my different pages, a lot of people ask the question, do I need to have a personal or a business page? It's totally up to you. You can decide what works for you. There are benefits to having a business Instagram page and also business on Facebook. You can't do ads and things without the business. So you probably do want to create a business profile on both. Now on the Instagram one, I on the business, I do an influencer one, like a creator, not necessarily business, but like a creator profile that allows you to still get like the stats from your post to see what kind of engagement you're getting. And then it also allows you to get access to like the full music database. So on your personal, unless you have so many followers, you don't get full access to the music. You can. I think you can. I think you just go into your settings, I think, and you can change it. So just think in your mind, 80% personal, 20% business. So on Instagram, I'm kind of jumping around right now, and I will like hone in onto each one specifically. But on Instagram, your stories is where you connect with people. And this is where you do 80% of your personal, 20% of your business. So what can we post about? This has what are personal interest type posts, pets, art, cooking, baking, recipes, exercise, working out, outdoor adventures, live music, team sports. So they have like 8 posts personal and then 2 posts business. I like to look at it a little bit differently in terms of like 5 posts, but on your business post, what are some things that you could be posting about? Listings, open house, awards, speaking events, educating. So
where do you get ideas?
What do you mean?
What on there? Like, I mean, so here's that. Okay?
Yeah.
But I guess it's not about the. Oh, okay. Sorry, my question. Let me rephrase it.
So
you said that there's different creator business account on your Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
What creators? What you want? I guess?
So a creator is like an influencer. And so I choose that option because it gives me, because basically as a realtor, you basically are an influencer. If you start to look at and think of yourself as that.
What's the difference because the different types of accounts?
Yeah, so the personal one doesn't give you stats and stuff. Like you can't, okay, so if I go to my Instagram, so there's a professional dashboard.
I got a professional dashboard and I have no idea why. I mean,
so you might have your account set up as one that would allow you to have the professional dashboard. So I personally want that because I want to see how my posts are performing so that, but it's kind of hard if we're just posting like haphazardly, like, oh, I'm going to post today. And then next week on the spur of the moment, I'm going to post another one. But if we can actually come up with a calendar and post consistently, then it's easier to track what is performing and what isn't performing. So that's the idea of the 30-day challenge is that after 30 days, you can go back and say, oh, I posted about X, Y, Z. This one, people didn't really like engage with that. Yeah. So I'm going to do less of that and more of this.
So do you time block?
Yeah.
Are you a time blocker?
Mm-hmm. I try to do like an hour of social media a day, at least.
Question, when it just says switch to professional account, would that be it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you get to choose what type of professional account you, so I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I usually did.
Sweet. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Now, remember, oh, okay, so I can't remember where I heard this, which I listened to so many people and I follow so many different like creator people who are all about like teaching you about social media and marketing that I can't remember which person said it, but they were talking about how you have your business and then you have your brand. Okay, your business, your brand. So everything you do across the social medias, you need to think about you, what kind of image you want to create, what is your brand, what are the values that you're wanting to project, to your clients, like how are you going to align with the client? Not everybody's going to be for you, right? And that's okay because there's an infinite amount of business out there. And so we're looking for the people who are going to align with us and who people work with you because they know, like, and trust you. Know, like, and trust you. So how in your posting, in your stories, can you create that know, like, and trust relationship with the people who follow you? So think about that when you're creating your content. Know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. Okay. All right. So moving on. Actually, we can talk about this right now. So there's Jenna Kutcher. She does trainings on Instagram, Pinterest, and different stuff. Kutcher, Kutcher. There's a lot of different trainers. I have another Instagram, the Rave Social, Jaden Robinson. She's really great too. But so Jaden calls it content pillars. So this might be an answer to your question, Scarlett. Content pillars. And this is going to kill me if these markers, Hunter's supposed to bring me markers. Jenna Kutcher calls it JK5. Jenna Kutcher 5. But essentially, it's just content pillars. Okay. So you're going to break up your content. So here, right, we had 80% personal, 20% business. But on your Instagram, you're going to look at these, you're going to create pillars. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's what Jenna says to do 5. You could do more or less, but I like to look at this as 5 days out of the week, I'm going to have very focused content on my different content pillars. So for me, my content pillars look like, okay, so I'm going to do a post on sellers. I'm going to do a post on buyers. I'm going to do a post on coaching, which could include my podcast or my broker role or any type of thing. Or I'm going to post about home. And my last one might be like, this is more like home or lifestyle, right? But lifestyle in that it relates kind of to real estate. Like, I don't feel like, well, and then my last one might be like home design or like staging ideas, So I know, and the green marker, I hate it. I want to throw it across the room. It does not do well. I know. It's okay. Get up close.
I'm like, all the lights are hitting the reflection on it. Crying out loud.
Yeah. And so then, I mean, I guess we're just going to just dive right into Instagram. Okay. So, and then we have our content pillars, right? Now, if you look at this, this is 5 days a week, right? It doesn't have to be in this order: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Although you do need to figure out an order. I actually do these in between that. So I break up my real estate posts, and technically this is more than 20%, 80, whatever. But okay. But then in my stories, I'm ramping it up with more of the personal stuff, right? So these are my posts, okay? Now, you can have different types of posts. So if you look at this, you only have to do one seller time post 4 times a month. So if you're planning a month ahead, you just have to come up with 4 posts on sellers. Educate them about anything that has to do with selling a house. Buyers, 4 posts for the month. Calendar that out. Okay. Now, the types of posts that you're going to do are reels. Now, reels are like the videos. Video is very, very good. You want to do more reels if you can. But you're also going to do, gosh, what is it called?
Reels are videos.
Mm-hmm. What is it called? Oh, carousel. Carousel. Okay. And why do we do carousel posts? Do you know what a carousel post is? A carousel post is like this, where you have to slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to do some of those because that when people are sliding, they're interacting, right? But then it's okay to have a still post too. This is just one, right? Oh, thank you. Okay, and then just like I guess we'll call it I don't know the other terminology, but like a still post, which basically is just static. I guess that's better. Static post.
I guess it's all laid out.
Yeah, it's in there. So when you go to your plus sign at the bottom and you do post, there's just this button right here. Click that. And then it allows you to put on
Okay.
a whole bunch of things.
And do you, when like that one that you just showed us that it was the carousel,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like very, excuse me, but it looks like very professional, pages that you did. So
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you create that?
Yeah.
So this I actually took screenshots from my website.
Okay, but still you have a website.
Yeah.
That's really
Okay. But otherwise, normally when I do, like, here's another one that's a carousel. And this one I created on Canva. So you want a Canva membership.
Oh, you want the membership.
Or you can get a free Canva. So this one I just created on Canva.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is so good.
And on Canva, there's options. Yeah.
She's got like 2 master's degrees.
Well, I'm still my social media is a work in progress, and I'm revamping everything because of all this training I've gone through this last year. I probably spent, I'm not kidding you, $15,000 to learn all about it, and now I'm in the ready to relaunch. So you can follow me. I wouldn't say it's perfect like this yet, but we're getting there. Yeah, yes and no. So we have our branch office and we all like work together and I help coach and stuff, just like in the broker capacity. But my husband and I work together. We're our own team. So, but we kind of, we help each other. We run parallel with each other, but it's a team environment.
Do you do the AI? Are you like AI very knowledgeable?
I'm becoming more knowledgeable about it. Yes. I do think it's going to be a huge asset to, oh yeah.
Sorry. Oh,
no, you're good. You're good. So anyway, okay, so if you notice on my actual post section, I have actually been okay, I noticed a lot of people were doing a ton of activity on their stories and not as many posts. And so I stopped posting. I used to be really good at posting. I stopped posting and just ramped up my stories. Well, now I'm learning, oh crap, you got to do both. So you got to post and you have to be in your stories. So I know, but whoa, as I fall, this I think helps to map things out and it makes it less scary, less. If you just sit down, I don't know, even if you can't do 30 days, just think, okay, on Monday, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make my social media plan for the week. I'm going to have one post about sellers, one post about buyers. You pick your pillars, right? For my lifestyle one, I love to travel. I'm a Paris addict. I am. Me too. The first time I went to Paris was when I was 17. I went with my Spanish class of all classes. We were going to France and Spain, and I stepped off the plane in Paris, and I was like, oh, "What is this place? I love it." Then I went back for study abroad, and then when I was a teacher, I used to take student groups on student tours every year, educational tours to France and all over. We went to France, Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, England. But Paris is my place. So anytime I go like on any kind of European vacation, I'm stopping in Paris for a couple of days because there's essential things I have to pick up that I just can't. This sounds really bougie, but 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 I mean, I work, I create the life that I want, right? And real estate is my vehicle to help me live that life. Right, I know, right? They're funny things. I'm a notebook. I love notebooks, and I actually normally carry about 10 notebooks in my bag of all different, like they're all for something different. Today though, I left a bunch on my counter. I was like, I won't need them for this class. But now I'm like kidding myself that I didn't bring them all so I could show you all my notebooks. But I have certain notebooks and I get them at different places in France because they have to be pretty notebooks. Okay. And so yeah, I love pens and papers, pen and paper. Yeah. Same. Then this is the funniest thing, but they have these washcloths there. I have not, I mean, you can buy them on Amazon, but that's not as fun. Right. But it's like a mitt. It's like a washcloth mitt. Anyway, they sell them at the Monoprix in in France, and every time I go, I pick up 10 new washcloths for the year. I know it's funny, but there's other things like butter. I gotta have like I bring butter home, and I don't like we don't eat it all at once. Like I just actually found a cube in my freezer that I forgot that was in there. Best day of the year when I found the butter in the fridge. So for a week we all like use the butter with the sourdough bread that I make. So part of my lifestyle is like I travel. I'm going to start adding more on that. I have a whole separate page about travel, but I've decided to kind of get more into this 80%, showing more about me and making it, yes, real estate. They know I'm a realtor, but I think for people to really want to engage and to like know, like, and trust you, it can't be all business. They have to like have these windows into your life. Now, do you have to share all of your life? No, you do not have to share all of your life. You get to pick and choose what parts of your life you want to share. If you don't want to share your kids or grandkids, you don't have to share that. If you don't want to, I don't know, just anything that you don't want to share, you don't have to share. Okay, so for me, lifestyle looks like travel. It looks like sourdough bread, or just cooking in general. I love to cook. It looks like, I'm trying to think. Travel, cooking. I love to read. I teach hot yoga or hot Pilates. Okay, so it's just like my life, you know. Sometimes I share about my family. I don't do a lot of family posts on, but I did do that one. It was like my why, because that's my why, you know, on Mother's Day, right? Home decor, all of that. So anyway, let's take, and then if you want to go above and beyond, you can add some community service stuff. So I add that in my stories. So like when we did Red Day, I talk about that at when we're doing, let's see, at Christmas time, we do like a drive, a clothing drive. And so, and then we take it to the road home or wherever, you know, and so that's other things that we do. Any ahas? No worries.
This is so powerful. The whole thing is an aha because I didn't know about the carousel. I didn't know about the
Static. Yeah, that's just a regular post.
I mean, it's all an aha because I know nothing.
Well, good. Okay, so talking about social media strategies. Gary Vee talks about being the media, let's see, what does he call it? The media mayor. Yeah, the media mayor. And he has like a whole bit about being that. And so if you wanted to, you could, maybe you're not a coach or doing broker stuff or teaching yet. That's not part of your business strategy. So maybe you could change this out and you could be like, you could talk about community events type thing. Like, you know, be the, depending on whatever city you live in or what cities like your main focus is for real estate. I know that we do real estate, help people all across the Wasatch Front, but if you really want to be more hyper focused in a specific location, like the area that you might be farming, then you could post about what's going on in the community, you know, new restaurants that come up, community events. Like I live in Saratoga and our office is in Eagle Mountain. So for us, we are sharing things about Eagle Mountain and Saratoga because that's like our community, right? So we have the Pony Express days coming up. We have the Splash days coming up. And so telling people about what's going on in the city this week, different events that they could get involved with. That could be a pillar if you want. Yeah, thinking about this hyper local information, I think that's really important for me. When I first got into real estate, I was going all over the state. I mean, I had a listing even as far as like last year, 2 years ago. I had a listing all the way up in Clarkson, Utah, which is by the Idaho border, and another listing all the way down in where Snow College is. What's the name of that town? I'm blanking right now, but all the way down there. Okay, so that's like 2 hours south of where I live and 2 hours north of where I live. That sucked having that span of like 5 hours drive time, right? For the different things. And at that moment, that's when I decided, okay, I need to hyper focus my business so that I am working mostly in Northern Utah County and Southern Salt Lake County, because are there outliers sometimes where I go downtown or I go down to Spanish or whatever? Yes. But for the most part, my business is in that area. So think about where you want to hyper focus on your business. And Scarlett asked about tech development. Yes, AI is the future. We do not have to think about it or be scared. Think about that it's going to replace us, but how can we use it as a tool to enhance our businesses to make our productivity better. So start learning about tech developments. Testimonials are really important, and this doesn't have to be like actual static posts or carousels or reels. It can be, but a lot of times it can be the best social proof is when somebody like comments on a post and said, hey, I had a really great experience. Thank you so much. Just take a snapshot of that and put it in your story. Okay, here's another thing. We don't post and ghost. So when taking earlier when I said, okay, I can't remember which person asked me about time blocking, but if you're going to spend an hour on social media and you're going to make your post at that point, then you're going to stay on social media and you're going to engage for like 20 minutes with that post. Because people, when they see it, they'll start commenting. You want to comment back. So when people comment, you want to reply to those comments so they see that you're engaging. Instagram likes that, and your customers like that. How can we add value? So that is what the whole idea with social media is adding value. And for me, adding value is how can I educate the public, my clients, the people in my sphere, my ideal client, who is that? And how can I educate them about home, about real estate? Okay. Okay, your homework is to post on social media. Okay, we also want to be authentic. We don't really want to be a jack of all trades. So in this section for me with home style, I really do have to be careful of what I post because I don't want to be a fitness. Like I don't want people to look at my grid and wonder what kind of page is this, right? So everything I do, I have to tie back to how it relates to home, right? So yeah. Embrace video. We talked about the reels, get involved with that. Use the analytics. So on your professional dashboard, as you start posting more, you'll be able to track the analytics of the post to see what people are engaging with and what they're not. Okay, so you're going to do 10 likes, 5 comments on people within your sphere, like people that you're friends with. You're going to go do that. Or even on Instagram, you can do this with other accounts that you're wanting to start engaging with and to get more followers. You can start liking and commenting on other people who are not following you. You're basically going out and looking for people to follow. And when you're comment and engaging, they sometimes will come back and follow you. Okay. And then doing your posts. So we really want to think about the 80-20 rule, 80% personal, 20% business, and adding in community service if you can. Okay. So, let's talk about the different, I'm just going to dive right in. Well, I'm going to dive right into different types of social media and what we need. I believe that this can apply, on your Facebook, on all the different platforms. Okay, but the different platforms off the top of your head, what are some different social media platforms? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest, newsletter, YouTube, and your website. Okay, so before we get hot and heavy into some of these other things, you do want to make sure that your website is set up. So whether you're using the command one, which is a great resource, has, well, they're just making improvements all the time. Or if you have another CRM website that you're using, that's fine. But you've got to have your website set up. And the reason for that is because everything on these points back to that website, right? Now, the second thing I'm going to point out, if you haven't gotten yourself a newsletter, these are the first, number one and number two things you need to get set up before you start doing this. Because newsletter, once you can get them on your newsletter, this is the one where you're going to have the most control of your database. If ever something happens with any of these platforms, there's nothing we can do about it. You know, sometimes I've seen it where a person has a bajillion followers and somebody comes in and takes over their Instagram and they can't get it back. And all of your database is tied up in that. That's how you're reaching them. Only way, not good. So if that happened to you and you also had a newsletter, you could send out a newsletter to your whole database and say, hey, my Instagram has been hijacked. You know, so this is how you're going to have the most control of your database. And you want everything to filter to the newsletter or to your website. I mean, even the website filters to your newsletter, really. So you want to get that set up. Now you can have, there's so many different newsletter options. I think even Command has an option in there where you can send out emails from your database. And we're talking about the database. The database is your business. If you don't have a database, you don't have a business. So that's why we're talking about social media. How can we build our database, right? How can we expand our databases? To get started, you think about your sphere. My business is like 90% run by my sphere and referrals. But I still have to find new people to continue feeding my database to expand it and get more business, right? So anyway, get that newsletter started. You can do that through Command. There's other resources too. There's like MailChimp, ConvertKit. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ones. A lot of people know about. And MailChimp has a free option, but Command is included in free as part of your, you know, your being with Keller Williams. So use that. They have, there's some templates even that you can use, or you can create your own template. And there's a lot of strategies on newsletters. This could be like a whole lesson in and of itself. But see if I have notes on that right here. So this is also the lowest cost. So your newsletter is going to be the lowest cost to you, especially if it's in Command. It's a great way to just, and you don't have to do it weekly. You just need to be consistent in whatever you do. That could be 1 time a month, 2 times, 4 times. You can even ramp it up and do, I know some people who do newsletters who send out like 2 a week. That's a lot. Yeah, so the content, so for me, I have 2 different types of newsletters that I send out. One of them might be like hot properties or like new properties that are hitting the market. So people, and that's just an email all in and of itself, just kind of like a property list, right? But then my other one, and there's different ideas on this. So that's why I was like, this could be a whole class in and of itself. But for me, I try to make a like talk about a hot topic that's like a current event within real estate, some kind of tip with buying and selling. I tie it back to the podcast. I'm tying it back to something I learned that week. You know, like at family reunion, 3 things I learned from Mel Robbins. It could be something, or something from Tony Robbins that we learned at family reunion. So I try to make it a little bit more personal in that way, trying to tell a story about something or a client experience. You know, this happened and this is how we worked through it. It's a little bit more long form, you know, your Instagram, Facebook, all of that is like short form stuff. So this is just a longer form of like telling the story of your business. Does that help? Okay, so let's see. Okay. All right. So once you have those 2, then you're gonna pick one of these that you're really gonna wanna, like, what calls to you, what is something that you're already maybe active on. Like for me, LinkedIn is not my jam, but my husband is on LinkedIn. He's very active on there, posts, comments, all the things. So that is his jam, right? I'm not really a Pinterest person, and so I never really got involved with Pinterest. TikTok, there's a couple people in the office who are really big into TikTok, and that's been their thing. I haven't really wanted to jump on that bandwagon either. I am always on Instagram. And so for me, it just makes sense to focus on Instagram. And then like as a second would be Facebook for me, right? I do have a YouTube channel. I have a channel set up on all of these areas. And in actuality, at some point, we could take the same post that we post on Instagram and just posted it on all of the different platforms, right? You really could do that. But I think at the beginning, focus on the one, get good at that, get a good routine, get a good habit, and then you can start adding on the other platforms. But pick the one that calls to you, because I think that's important, and then go from there. So let's go back to I'm going to spend most of the time on Facebook and Instagram. So we kind of already talked about Instagram, so let's jump back to that. So another thing that's important is your brand needs to be consistent. So if you do have pages in all of these areas, you want your brand to be consistent in everywhere. So your profile picture should be the same profile picture on all of them. Your name should be the same on all of them, right? You need a bio on Instagram. So I have a formula for that. So for your name, like this is mine right now. And again, it's constantly changing. But for now, so I have, and this can be either direction. You don't have to. Mine says Utah Realtor. And then I have a line and then my name. Okay. So that's across the top. Utah Realtor, Courtney Nielsen. You could have it Courtney Nielsen / Utah Realtor. That's fine. Then I have myself titled as a real estate agent. And then line 1, your one-liner of what you do and who you do it for. So the next line, line 1. Because it's very, you can't put a lot in your bio on Instagram. That's why we have to be very intentional about what we're putting on. So your one-liner of what you do and who you do it for. Okay, so mine says helping you buy and sell or buy, buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Okay, that's line 1. Then line 2, this is your accolades or something else you do. Okay, and so mine, I have a trophy, and then I say 5-time Salt Lake top 500, top 100 real producer. And then I have host of the Real Deal podcast. Now, you're not going to find my podcast yet, Real Deal. I just changed my bio and I haven't launched my podcast yet, but I'm launching it within the next couple of weeks. But I put that on here, and I have like a microphone, and then I have a trophy. However, I don't know how to draw. So use emojis. Okay, and then on my last line, I have search homes, and I have 2 homes now with an arrow, okay, pointing down, because, okay, so line 3, that's going to be what your call to action is. Okay, search homes now. And the reason why you want to use emojis in this is just to help with the, I think you only have like 130, what are they called? Letters that you can put on that bio for this. Okay, so, but the next cool thing is the Instagram has added a feature now to where you can have more than one link. It used to be you can only have one link. And so people would use Linktree, and you'd have to sign up for a third-party thing, and you put in your Linktree, and then they'd click on the Linktree, and that would pop up with a whole bunch of links that they could click on. Well, now Instagram has changed it so you can have lots of links. So right now, because my podcast isn't live, I don't have a link to my podcast, but I will have a link to my podcast as soon as it launches. And I'm not launching it until I have I want to have like 4 or 5 episodes pre-recorded before I launch. So I've got, I think, 3. So I got to record 2 more and get them all edited before I launch. So anyway, so you can add your links. So for me right now, I just have my website. Okay. But I think you can do like up to 5 different links. And so utilize that link space because they'll let you put that in, and it doesn't count towards your characters in your bio. So right now I just have 1 linked, but you can link, I think, up to 5. So utilize that. So if you want to send them to your YouTube, you can add your YouTube link. You want to send them to your newsletter to get them to sign up for that, do that. you know, if you want to send them to any of these other platforms, you can put your link right to that and it would direct them right there. So anyway, that's an idea. So think about how you want to write up your bio. That's homework 2. Post homework 2 is change your bio. Okay, so bios. Okay, going back to our content, remember we talked about people buy from you because they know, like, and trust you, right? And then there's 3. See if they're orange. Content. Okay. In your content creations, there's 3 purposes: inspire, educate, and entertain. You could also add one more: to persuade, or in other words, sell. Okay. I personally, I try to, yes, I do add the selling, but mine is more subtle selling. Entertain, like a funny meme or something. So inspire, educate, entertain, and then a 4th one could be selling. But I like to go more along the lines of subtle selling. Like, I'm not like in your face person. Subtle selling would be, oh, I have a listing coming up, or, oh, look at me, I'm pulling comps. That's subtle selling because it's showing what you're doing, but you're actually selling because you're saying, look, I'm pulling comps for somebody, or I'm checking out doing a market analysis for a home in Eagle Mountain. This is what I'm finding. That the things that you can put in your story, right? That you're selling, but you're not selling. Okay. Let's see here. Another thing that you can add for your content is, what is your story? You can weave your story, meaning like you could have like a rags to riches story. You could have like your hero's journey story. Okay, so like when I was a teacher, I was making $50,000 a year. Then I got into real estate and now I make multiple 6 figures a year. That's something I could tell on my story. I would not tell it like that, but kind of, you know, I would make it more storytelling. But that's kind of like the rags to riches idea. Or real estate changed my life. I grew up in a small town and grew up living in a mobile home, right? But real estate has changed my life and has enabled me to buy my own real home and multiple investments. That's another type of transformational type story, right? Where you go from one to the next. A hero's journey is like a call to, like, what was your call to action? Like, think of Harry Potter. You know, he gets a letter and he gets sent off to Hogwarts, and on his Hogwarts journey, or at Hogwarts, he went through this whole journey while he was there, right? Every book tells there's some kind of transformational story that happened where he had to like fight demons and overcome adversity, and then how did he prevail in the end, right? Every book is like that. Every Disney movie is like that. So what's your hero's journey, and how can you tell that story through your socials, on your website? That's a way for people to connect with you, you know, because what? It is. But I mean, you don't have to make it like this big, you know, thing, and it doesn't have to be as grandiose either. But like, what are some transformational things people want to know about that part of your life? Again, you get to choose what you want to tell and what you don't want to tell. We don't have to open the window and let everybody know every dirty secret. But what parts of your life are you wanting to share about you so that you can connect with your audience? Because social media is all about connecting with the audience, connecting, and they're not going to engage if they don't connect. So how can we do that? Let's see. Okay, so if we go back to the idea of how do we, with our content creation idea, how do we get people, because we said, okay, our content is meant to inspire, educate, and entertain, but people will work with us because they know, like, and trust you, right? So with our content, how can we build? How can we get our clients to know us? Well, we talked about this, sharing your story, right? So how do we get people to know? Share your story. And we're going to be consistent. How are we consistent? We're posting on those different platforms. We're coming up with the calendar, right? Calendar, when you're going to post and what you're going to post. So this goes back to your pillars. Also think about, we talked about all the different ways of it, but what kind of content do you enjoy? You'll find out as you begin this journey. You'll start to find out very quickly what you like to post and what you don't like what is fun for you. And do more of that. You know, it doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to do things that, well, you do need to be visible. So that is one thing. Even if you don't want to do it, you've got to take the risk and do it and show up in your stories. So we're going to say that, show up in stories. Okay. Even if it's 1 minute a day, you've got to show up in your story at least one time a day. And one way to do that is in the morning, you could put like a to-do list. This is what I'm doing today. Dun, 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 dun. That's it. It doesn't even have to be a video about it. You can just do a post with like a picture with, you know, whatever, like some B-reel. Okay. Then, okay. Okay, show up in your story. So with the like and trust bit, you're going to, well, actually like, I honestly, all of this. I don't know why we had to write this twice, but it all kind of goes back to that, right? Of all these things. So with the like bit, this is where you're going to track your analytics and finding out what posts they're liking and how do we know that? The posts that they're engaging with, right? And then, yeah, let's see. Oh, and then the trust bit are putting in the testimonials And again, that can be a post, it can be a reel, it could just be in your stories where you've screenshotted something where somebody said they liked you and put it there. It doesn't have to be a formal review. It can be anything where someone has said something, how you're amazing at your job. Like I get a lot of that in like the comments, oh, I really, or actually on Facebook groups, like the city groups, when people say, I'm looking for a realtor. Does anybody know anybody? And then they get 1,000 comments. Well, the people who, there's certain people within my sphere who I have never worked with before who constantly shout out my name. And they'll say things like, she's the best realtor. If I ever had to hire a realtor, I'd hire her. And so that's an opportunity to just take a screenshot and post it on your stories, because that's like authentic. I didn't ask for that. That's the best kind of testimonial right there, is when you don't have to ask for it and people just comment because they like you, or, and I've had people who I've worked with who commented too, but we call those people sneezers, people who if you take your database and you organize it into your A's, B's, C's, D's, they would be like an A. Maybe they never bought from you before, but they're going to refer you over and over and over and over again. So I send little nice things to them every time they do shout out my name. I send a little thank you card with like a Swig gift card or something, or a cookie crumble, something like that, where, hey, thanks so much for, for shouting out my name on Facebook the other day. I really appreciate that. Here, go have a cookie on me, or go get a drink. And for that, because I'm in Eagle Mountain, Quench It is right there in Eagle Mountain, and I want to support the local business. And so oftentimes I have Quench It cards, so for people to go to the Quench It. And the other selfish reason for that is it's right next to my office. So they go into the drive, the drink line, and they look up and there's my office. So it's kind of like just a subtle way for me to remind them, hey, I'm sending you to get a drink. Thank you so much. And also, don't forget me, kind of thing. Okay, so Facebook. Let's talk about Facebook. So Facebook is great for forming communities and groups. So Instagram and Facebook are owned by Facebook, right? So everything you post on Instagram, you can you click the button to where it will automatically post on Facebook. And so I do that. So then I don't even really have to worry about posting on Facebook because it's automatically doing it when I post on Instagram. But how you can make the Facebook experience a little bit, I don't know, better for the client is that you can form some community groups. So just create a Facebook group basically for your sphere if you want to, or so that's another way for you to reach them and they don't get lost in the algorithm. Because you're going to if you have a group created, then anybody in that group, when you post, everybody's going to get the info, right? So it won't get lost on your feed, I guess is what I'm saying. Facebook ads. So I would only start these when you're ready to start them. And you can do those through command. So you link your command to Facebook ads, and you have to have a business account in order to create the ads. So you will need that. So let's add up here, Facebook business account. The same thing applies with Facebook that applies to Instagram and all the social media posts. 80-20 rule. And here's another way to look at it. So on, what Ignite told us was 80% personal, 20% business, but you can also look at it as this 80% can be value and 20% can be sales. So selling. Yeah. And how do we create value? That was the inspire, educate. What was the third thing? Yeah, entertain. Okay, we're creating value and we're giving, give. So if we can start to think of our job more as serving and less about selling, we'll create that value because we're willing to give all this information. Give. Let me help teach. When they see that, they automatically, well, I don't know about automatically, but they gain trust because they see you as an expert in your field when you're doing this, right? You can utilize Facebook Messenger also. So on Facebook, this is when I do the 10 comments. I do it on Instagram too, but I do go through my friends list and I go and I comment. Like, I don't know why I keep saying comment. Well, it's because I actually do 10. Well, 10. I do 10 comments, 10 likes. I actually like to go on to the person's profile. Like I'll go through my friends list starting with A, and every day is a different letter, right? And I go on there and I will go and pick a few different of their posts that they've posted, and I'll comment and like a few of them, And another thing that I do too is like I use Facebook also as a way to like gain intel about people. So I also, in addition, not Facebook, not social media related, but I also text people every day and I just create conversations with people. And one way that I do that is I go onto Facebook and I just see what they're posting, or onto Instagram and see what they've been posting recently. And then I'll be like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are things going? I see that you just got home from Peru. How was your trip? And we just start a conversation. And I don't talk about real estate at all unless they ask, how is your business? And then that would be a good time for me to circle around. But it doesn't matter if we're talking about real estate at all, right? What we're doing is we're becoming top of mind. They know who you are. They know that you're a realtor. You don't even have to say it. You do occasionally, but you don't really have to in those text conversations, right? But I find that when I ask about people, they're going to respond in kind and ask about you, right? So my message is that I'm not really in that moment trying to get a sale from them at all. I'm just continuing to foster the relationships that I have already. So I guess a big thing that I would want you to take away from today with social media, with any type of lead gen, is think about it as creating a new relationship, a new connection with somebody, and how can I foster that and maintain that relationship forever? Because real estate is the long game. It is not a get rich quick scheme. It's relationships. How can I serve and give and foster those while also trying to be the best real estate agent that you can possibly be, right? So continuing to develop your skills, continuing to learn and grow, and yeah. Okay, what are some questions that you might have that I didn't really jump into YouTube much? I didn't really jump into Pinterest, but what are some things that you might have questions about? If you have any questions that we could maybe go over, if you want to learn anything else. Okay. Thanks. I mean, I kind of like powered through it, but I think it's a good, I feel like that's a good start for you at least, because it giving too much information all at once is kind of a lot to process and think through. And I don't want you to feel completely overwhelmed. But if you just take one thing and start to become an expert at that, but also do some little things like changing your bio, getting your websites, getting a newsletter started, and then everything points back to that. Like even on your social, on Instagram, when you're, you know, I'm going to mention if I have any like homes that are coming up being listed, I'm going to put that into my newsletter, and then I'm going to talk about it in my stories, and I'm going to post about it there. But they're going to see it in a bunch of different places. And the idea is, I can't remember what the percentage is, but I don't know, it's like 6% or so of homes are sold because like in neighborhoods, because from neighbors, because they have somebody in their network, right? So that's the idea, is we're trying to reach out and create more connections with more people. Another thing that I didn't mention on Instagram, once you get to this point, when you are selling something like a house, or your services, you want to start working on cross promoting. And that's with other agents. It could be with other services within real estate, like home warranty companies, loan officers, things like that. Because if you can start cross promoting, then your reach is going to expand, and people maybe in the lender sphere might then start following you, or in the home warranty sphere or whatever, right? So when you get to that point, think about, how can I cross promote my listings with other agents, with other vendors, to help get a broader reach. So that's just a tip for when you're like, for your marketing plan for your listings, when you're doing that. And that will help you broaden that reach. We didn't talk about hashtags. That's one other thing we can talk about really quick before we take off. So on your Instagram posts, the same idea applies with the content pillars. You're going to create hashtag banks. Okay, hashtag banks. So each one of the banks is gonna apply to each one of your pillars, right? So there's different ways to do hashtags. I think you can do up to 30 hashtags on a post. I don't recommend doing 30 hashtags on a post. I'd probably stick to like 10 that are really like solid hashtags. And what a hashtag means is, think of Instagram as one big cabinet, file folder cabinet, filing cabinet. Okay. A hashtag is a file within the cabinet. So a hashtag, like on my post, let's see, realtor could be a hashtag. Okay. But realtor has like a lot of people. There's different types of hashtags in, okay, I'm jumping around. I'm like losing my, let me think here. Okay. So if you go to, okay, so this post, I did listing agent. I click on listing agent. There's 3.4 million posts on about with somebody that has used the hashtag listing agent. That's a big number. So you kind of want a variety of more hyper focus, which would be not as big of a reach, right? Yeah, like Utah homes. How many is in that? Let's see. I clicked that too. So Utah realtor has 255,000 posts. So that's going to be, it's way less, but still a lot. And we want a couple maybe that have big broad reaches, but then we want most of them to be more in the not millions, you know? So I have another one that's like selling Utah. That one only has 5,000 posts. So there's not a lot in there. You kind of want to find a balance. You want a little bit of each so that you're in different reaches. So Yeah. So that's like a whole, if you go search in your Instagram, you click the search button. Well, what? Well, in there, I'm all mixed up right now, but you can go in and you can search hashtags and you can put in topics for hashtags and you can see what hashtags are being used for different pillars, for the different pillars that you want to create. And then just create your banks and then just reuse them. And a tip I was listening to this morning on a podcast was if you use Apple, you know how you can do like shortcuts for your like text. You can create text shortcuts. So like for me, I have like Courtney Nielsen, I have Courtney Nielsen, comma, KW Westfield, parentheses, Cedar Valley. So when I'm texting, instead of having to type my whole name and the whole thing out, I can just put in KW and then it'll automatically put in Courtney Nielsen, comma, KW Cedar Valley, the whole thing. You can do that same thing, create a shortcut for your hashtag bank, and you just start typing in whatever keyword that you want that bank. So if this one is going to be like sellers, I could just start typing in sellers and a hashtag bank would pop up. And then I don't have to like retype in 10 hashtags every time. That was brilliant to me this morning. I was like, what a time saver. Anyway, so you could create a bunch of different hashtag banks that you could use, but you want to play around with that, do some searches, look at what other people are using, and really think about the local market too. And how can if somebody was you don't want to think about what your competitors are. You want to look to see what they're posting, but you want to think about not what they're putting in for a hashtag search, but what would the client be putting in for a hashtag search? Because that's going to trigger to them and show up in like you understand Instagram, right? You guys, YouTube. Some people don't, but you're in the younger generation. So I'm like, you understand what I'm talking about. Where it's like the popular posts or whatever, right? So that's how they filter them through, is through those hashtags. So there's some different ways to do it too. You can some people do them all within their post. You know, you've seen that, right? Where at the bottom of the post, okay, so like Matt Howard doesn't do them at all there. Let's see, where does he put his? Yeah, so you can do it at the bottom or you can put it in the comment. So what this person I was listening to this morning was saying, she said she puts 3 in at the bottom of her post so it doesn't like look inundated with hashtags, you know? And then she'll put the rest, like 7 to 10, in a comment. And what she'll do is she'll like do like the periods or like space, space, space to create like, and then she'll do the hashtag so that it closes so you can't see it in the comments. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like a long comment, you know how it shortens it? So if you start out with periods or spaces and then put it at the bottom, then it will condense it, but it only shows like the first line, right, of a comment. You know what I'm saying? You follow? So I was like, oh, that's a good idea too. So then it doesn't look like you're selling hard. I don't know. I haven't done that. I usually just put them right into my post. Let's see. Where's my post? So yeah, this one I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did 10 and I just put them all at the bottom of my post. But after she said that this morning, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like maybe I'll try that and see how that, I don't know. I don't think it really matters where you put them. If you're going to put it in the comment or the post, but some people are funny about the aesthetic, and the aesthetic is not good in the post, right? they want to they don't want to see it anywhere. And so that was like the idea with the period or the space and kind of create a long comment with the hashtags at the bottom, but all this is blank. Anyway, yeah, we're finishing kind of early, but if you have any questions or you want to talk about anything or brainstorm anything, I'm here a little bit. Thank you so much.